Hi, my name is Richard Taylor. I'm the CEO of SensOre Limited, a company committed to discovering more with AI, artificial intelligence enhanced exploration, using the best of data to be able to make new discoveries at the moment with a focus on Western Australia. Usual disclaimer. We had a big 2020 for SensOre. We've been very much focused on getting the most out of the very large data set that we've built in using public and proprietary information over Western Australia, generating targets from it, acquiring those targets and testing them. We had a big year. We raised almost $9 million in funds. 4 of those came from DGO Gold. 4 came from existing shareholders who've been supporting the company, and more than $1 million was received in federal and state funding for the unique combination of technology and exploration assets that SensOre brings together. We undertook drilling programs, more than 20 kilometres worth of drilling on 5 targets that we had identified. We have 1 major discovery that we believe has the potential to reach a resource level, which is the Mount Magnet discovery just north of Ramelius operations in Western Australia. We've only just kissed the surface of that deposit with air core drilling over a widely spaced area, but we're very encouraged by the results we've got in that location. We were able to acquire a number of other targets by building our portfolio of agreements in terms of joint venture partners, one notably with Jindalee and Torque Resources over the Maynards Dam prospect, the Nullarbor Resources project at the Monera, which is our first rare earths, nickel and copper target between Perth and the South Australian border. And we're also able to expand the number of targets we picked up on open ground using our unique system to be able to see where geochem anomalies exist within very wide sets. Just a bit about us and who we are as a company. Robert Peck is our chairman, a long-time investor in technology stocks in Australia. He came in as part of the RVF private equity group, who's been supporting us for a number of years. Adrian Manga, ex-BHP in commercial. Tony O'Sullivan, who's the Chief Development Officer of Deep Green, another innovative company looking to expand nickel and different sources of battery minerals that are required to fuel the green economy. Nick Lim, current chairman of FAR Resources, chair previously of Mineral Deposits and a number of other ASX-listed companies. Myself, who comes out of experience with Oxiana, Panos, a number of ASX-listed companies that have gone from explorer to production. Robbie Rowe, ex-VP at Barrick in exploration. He leads up our exploration and field operations team. And Alf Ego, who is the brains behind the technology, came out of Rio Tinto many years ago and has been developing this approach to big data and machine learning ever since. We also have James Potter, who joins us from CSA Global for his expertise in the Eastern Goldfields. Our company, 3 focus areas: the assets that we build up from the knowledge that we generate in our deposits, services we provide to third-party clients on their ground, because we invest a lot in not only the data that is generated for exploring our own areas, but we also get insights and knowledge on third-party ground. And the research and development that we're doing into technology that we hope to transform exploration and the way it's undertaken. More dollars into data, less dollars into redundant drilling requirements. Just a quick a deep dive into the technology at SensOre. We're here to solve a problem. The problem is declining rates of discovery and declining quality of discovery. Particularly in this case, the graphs show gold discoveries within Australia, but it applies to many, many minerals. Our existing exploration toolkit is not suited as we move beyond looking for outcropping material to undercover search and being able to see the more difficult or different types of mineralization where new discoveries are going to be coming from. We believe that like big data, machine learning and AI has transformed other adjacent industries, these approaches are going to transform how exploration is undertaken globally. It's a big prize. There's a lot of money spent on exploration globally. In our view, a lot of that is put into more expensive drilling operations, when greater insights could be gathered from the data and money be saved and also reduce our environmental footprint of it as an industry by putting more emphasis on the data, its gathering, its quality and cleaning, and the way that we use that information in terms of making predictions about where those special parts of the Earth crust that host major mining deposits exist. Just for greenfields exploration, that budget globally is 2.5 billion. We hope to gather a share of that information with our approach and our way of doing things. We get asked a number of times why this hasn't happened before. And when we talk with Alf, who's been working on this for decades, there's been a couple of really transformational events that have taken place in the last 5 years. It's been the advances in computing capability and the cost reduction in storage of large data. A lot of this activity would have been impossible or cost prohibitive just a few years ago. There's also been rapid advances in machine learning algorithms, the approaches that we use to extract information and meaning from the data, and also an acceptance of global business about this approach and where it works. Major miners have seen this transform aspects of the business within the mine pit, within logistics, within processing. But there are some areas of the business, such as exploration, who have yet to be touched by the transformational nature of data acquisition and discovery. Just quickly, how we put together our approach and why we are different. The data cube that we pulled together represents, I guess, 400 by 400 meter cells right across Western Australia at this point, but eventually all of Australia. And each of those cells represents a unique, I guess, geographic location. We populate each of those cells currently with more than 2,500 layers of data. That data is drawn from geochemistry, all of the massive data set that's been put in by industry, the over years, our own proprietary data, our training data sets that are the answers to the question of what we want to go and see in terms of where a new deposit could be located. The geology of all of the layers in terms of faults, locations, structures, lithology, those type coming as different layers within our system, and traditional geophysics, magnetics, the gravity, and all the derivatives thereof. The power of putting this together into a massive data cube is that this allows us to impute missing data with high degrees of confidence because of all of the other data surrounding it, and be able to project that through undercover, not only predicting locations of where deposits are, but also predicting geology, geophysics and geochemistry from the other layers within which we have. This is a massive upfront cost investment in data cleaning and acquisition, and the benefits of this flow not just to us on the areas that we peg for SensOre, but we do the same amount of work essentially for every company as we do for our own, which is why we partner with third parties to be able to work on projects in areas which we are unable to acquire. The technology that we've developed, though, also will have benefits for the transition to a green economy and for the emerging requirements for battery minerals. Because we are putting in all of the geological information and geochemical information for the major elements, it does not matter what we train the system to predict. We started with gold, we've undertaken work in nickel and copper, but we'll move gradually on to other elements to make sure that we can extract the most information and benefit from all that information that we've acquired over those years. Consistent with our commitments to sustainability, we have robust procedures around making sure that we minimise our footprint. And this is embedded in all of the activities that we undertake, particularly going from our philosophy of data-led discovery rather than drilling more holes to be able to make and confirm a discovery in those areas. Just want to transition now to the targets that the system has generated and what we're doing about to monetize value from those targets. Our first range of drilling was undertaken on 9 packages of targets. These were areas that we had identified within the greenfield belts of Western Australia as being either overlooked, unloved, or discrete new discoveries of greenstone that potentially are fertile and host gold deposits. We partnered with DGO. DGO is earning 40% of our Yilgarn exploration subsidiary, and we tested those 5 targets, all except for T-Well and Boudinoo in 2020, and those will be tested in the first half of 2021. We've had spectacular results at Mount Magnet. Under North Darlow and Desdemona, we've predicted that geology at depth undercover, and we've found gold mineralization within that sequence, and we're undertaking follow-up drilling on both those projects in 2021, searching for the origin of the target that was generated from our system. Just going to Mount Magnet, exciting results that we released in early 2021. You can see in the outline, the dotted outline around the target area there, this was the prediction from our DPT, our Discriminate Predictive Targeting System, that we followed up with on-the-ground activities. We looked at where we could locate on-surface anomalism, and you can see the results of the drilling that we undertook earlier this year. This was just wide-spaced air core and a few RC holes. Most of the best of our results were at the end of hole where we hit basement and the air core was unable to penetrate. We can see a lot of, I guess, references from the geochem to an intrusion-related system, which was a system that the DPT target had indicated was there. It shares a lot of similarities, we believe, at this stage with the Eridanus deposit, which Ramelius has been mining. Ramelius, when they announced that deposit, said they were excited because it was a new type of mineralization close to a mining camp that had been mined for 100 years that had been not recognized. So you can see our system being able to apply unbiased data to be able to look for correlations, not biased by the system that people are looking for gold in one location just because it happens to be, other deposits happen to be located within a banded iron form, or in the case of some of our other targets where they're looking for an anticline, but there is areas close by in syncline formations that have been overlooked. So an unbiased approach to data there, we believe, has shown us some great upside at Mount Magnet. We, as I mentioned before, we have a drilling program commencing in a matter of days to follow up on these very exciting initial results. We've also been connecting a lot of multi-element geochem. You can see some of the pathfinder elements we have to the south of that target that haven't been drilled yet. We've got 472 ppm bismuth, 17 ppm tellurium. These are very high pathfinder responses, and one of the things that we're definitely going to be following up as part of this work program in March. As I said before, wide-spaced air core largely identified and developed where we're going to be putting these holes next phase. You can see that we just sort of touched base of oxidization. We stopped with a lot of our holes in that area. We've got an interpreted near vertical structure there, which hosts the mineralization, and the drilling is open to the north, south, and at depth. So we'll put in a couple of diamond tails on the RC program we've got there, and we're excited to sort of be able to talk about those results when they're available. Our next package of tenements come called SensOre Yilgarn Ventures. I mentioned before Maynard's Dam, which is just near the St Ives complex. We will do the joint venture with Talk Minerals and Jindalee Resources there. That's one of our exciting projects for 2021. Mogul Well, we're pretty encouraged by what we've seen. On open ground there, we were able to pick up this target, which had geochem anomaly that had been identified and overlooked for many years. So we've get on the ground there early this year, do some infill work and further develop up that target before drilling in the second half of the year. Auckland Well and 8 Mile Well follow up on work we have done in some of our other projects, and the system really likes that Gwalia sequence in north of Leonora, and we hope to be able to fully develop and evaluate that package this year as well. I spoke a bit before about Monera. It's a very exciting project for us. It's our first step away outside from gold. It's mapped as a carbonatite. It used to be hosted by Rio Tinto. and they had it mapped as carbonatite previously. They let it go many years ago, and we've been able to JV into it. We think it's a deep komatiite sequence, and we know that hosts major deposits in WA. We'll be looking at a deep test hole later in the year. We've applied for government funding from the Exploration Incentive Scheme to be able to subsidise 50% of the drilling costs associated with testing what could be a very large deposit in that area, and particularly given the excitement around rare earths, we'll be looking hopefully to be able to present more information to you next time we're presenting at 121. In terms of where to from here, we've been pushed to go and look at the Pilbara. That's the next suite of targets. We're out there active at the moment, looking and applying for some of the things that we've seen within our system. We're hoping to be able to talk more about that later in 2021, but it's a natural extension of the work we've been doing in the Yilgarn to be able to take that to the rest of Western Australia. And beyond that, continuing our work plans to roll out the data view and organise all of Australia's geoscience data in a way that can be used for exploration targeting. It's a big goal. It's going to take a lot of time, but we think we've got the software and the approaches now to automate a lot of those processes and make that information available to industry and our partners. We're working very closely with a number of people, a lot of research agencies, a lot of partnership with SensOre and IBM. I'd like to talk about. There's a lot of complementarity between what IBM is doing with exploration for Watson. This is a mine site-based system which looks at extension of known resources within mining camps. Also partnered up with SensOre, looking in their mineral resources area, doing work on how we can extract the most value out of Australia's data science resources, which will be exciting over the next few years. I think I'm out of time. Hope to see you at 121 and look forward to answering any of your questions. Thanks a lot.